Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. Today I have got the most incredible ramen recipe. So ramen is like a chicken and noodle broth. Now, we had a good Sunday lunch yesterday. So we've got, this recipe is the ideal one for using up leftover roast chicken. So do not throw it away. Keep the rest of the chicken because this recipe is bloody delicious. So first thing we need to do is take the actual meat off the chicken because we're going to use that in the broth. Now, a ramen is like a noodle broth and it is all about the broth. So we've got to make a really, really good one. So I'm just going to take this chicken breast away. So that is all meat there. We'll put that to one side and then there's a bit there. And then we'll just take the thigh. Oh dear. Pip's been sent out the kitchen, making too much noise today. Right, okay, so once the chicken is actually off the bones, okay, we're just gonna leave the remains in there. And it's a little bit brutal, I suppose, if you like, but it is what it is. So, we've gotta cook this and get it really, really golden. And if we cook this and get it golden brown, we will get a beautiful stock. So to do that, we're going to add a little olive oil, or rapeseed oil I'm using today, on to the carcass. And then we're going to add some salt and pepper. And then we're going to whack it in the oven for an hour till it is really dried out and golden, okay? And that will be the backbone of our broth. Chicken's been in the oven for about 30 minutes, okay? And you can see, let's move my coffee, it's not looking its best, is it, Emily? No, it's looking a little overcooked, shall we say. But that's exactly how we want it, okay? So what I'm going to do is, I've got my big pan. We're going for the lavender one. Is it lavender today, Emily?
Yeah.
One of the new coloured, the 5-litre pans. Get the pan on nice and hot. I'm going to boil the kettle at the same time. Now, the reason why we overcook the chicken is because I want the colour, okay? So you have to overcook it to get the colour, all right? And then just, I've got a slotted spoon, so I'm just going to lift it out so as not to get any of the residual fats that have come off it, and we will get that in, all right? So this is all the stuff that you probably would have thrown away, all right? Or given to the dog, much to Pip's disgust. Not far from my side today, are you? So we'll get that in, okay? Full heat. Now, we're going to add a few aromatics to this. Now, dried mushrooms have an incredibly beefy, meaty kind of flavour to them, okay? There's a kettle. So we're going to add some. We're going to add a good handful. Now, if you wanted to make a vegetarian version of this, double up on the mushrooms and obviously lose the chicken, okay? And you will get a really nice, meaty, kind of umami flavoured stock, just the same. So we're going to add in some boiling water. And the only reason why I've used boiling is just to keep the whole cooking process going. You could use cold if you're in no rush, chuck cold in, that's not a problem at all.
You can see the colour change already.
Yeah, but you can see the water is changing, can't you? It's a darker colour. Okay. So we'll let that boil up. Now let's get some more flavour in. So we're going to add a couple of cloves of garlic. We're going to add some chilli, some ginger, a little bit of miso, and some soy sauce. So let's add a little bit of soy. This is a light soy sauce, so it's not too sort of thick and rich and dark. We're going to add a little bit of miso paste. This is white miso, but you could use red as well, absolutely fine. Again, it just gives you a little bit of umami, that savouriness that we want from it all. Now, with the ginger and the garlic, we don't need to chop it, okay? Just take the bulb there, the clove there, with a plane and just grate it straight in. And what happens is, all you're left is with the skin. Now the same with the ginger. I'm just going to cut that bit there so that I've got a clean surface to work from, and we're just going straight in. Ginger and garlic together, so good. Now, if you've got any questions at all about today's recipes, please do post them in the comments below, and I shall answer them as best I can. And if you want the recipe for today, please scan the QR code on the bottom or go to masterclass.co, and you will find the recipes there, along with all the others that we've done over the past 12 months. So I'm going to add a few pieces of chili. Not too much, just to get the flavours in there. You could add chili flakes in there if you wanted to. That's no problem.
Kind of adds a bit of colour as well.
Yeah, just that bit of warmth. I think a good ramen is all about getting like big flavours in the broth. Really big flavours. So I mean, if I show you the colour of this stock now, have a look at this, Emily. Look, we have already got that lovely golden colour, all right? The longer you simmer this, the more flavour you would get. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit more water to this now. Okay, so there we go. That's given us a decent amount of broth. Smells amazing in here now. It smells really good. Okay, so let's mop that up. Now, we've got our bowls here. So with the ramen, what you generally do, so if I make 3 here, I've got some noodles that I've just soaked in boiling water. Okay, so they are now cooked. We're going to pop those in the bottom there. Just to one side. So it's all about the prep now. So while that cooks, we can prepare our bowls, and you can do this in advance really easily. So if you've got a bit of time during the day, you could get it ready so that when everyone gets home in the evening from school or work or wherever they might be.
Can you use any type of noodles, please?
Yeah, I mean, these are egg noodles. So you can get soft ready to wok noodles. You could use those if you want. You obviously don't need to soak those. No. But all I've done is taken the normal egg noodles, dried from the supermarket, poured boiling water over them. That way you don't overcook them. Yeah. They just cook in the residual heat with a little bit of time. Okay? So, I've got my monster-sized spring onions here that I bought today, and they are big. Okay? So I'm just going to cut them on an angle really nice and fine, and we're going to put them into the bowls ready. I don't want these to be cooked. A good ramen for me has got texture as well, so a lot of raw and a lot of cooked to go with it, okay? So, some spring onions there, or green onions, or scallions, depending on where you are from. As we have a very global audience these days, we will try and make sure we cover all of those. So, a few of those in there. That's it. Right, so I've got some monge too. Again, we're going to do these, I think they call them snow peas, don't they, in America? Yeah. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Or in Australia, I think they call them snow peas. And somewhere they do. So shred them up as fine as you possibly can, because we're going to eat them raw. Okay? What are your thoughts on this one, Emily? Do you think you give this a go?
Yeah, because I like to eat things like raw vegetables and stuff like that. And it's like kind of nice to have that contrast of like...
Feels healthy as well, doesn't it? We're using up leftovers from yesterday, and then...
It's different as well.
Yeah, it's clean, but it's also quite sort of intense as a flavour. So I've got some baby corn here. I'm just going to cut them long ways into quarters, so that when we pour the boiling stock over the top, it kind of takes the raw edge off it, but it's still nice and crunchy and crispy. And they do say the more raw food you can eat, the better. So this is kind of the best of both.
There's nothing better than eating like raw veg, like monge and carrots and corn and... I could eat it. I quite often do it. So
I can do it this way.
A recipe like this.
Oh. How on earth has the dog heard that? Hello. The dog is here. Are you ready?
Oh.
Right. Not quite. Normally you would use a whole carrot.
Not today.
These days we never get a whole carrot anymore because somebody always has to be in it. Now I'm going to take my time and do this really, really fine because carrot obviously takes a lot more cooking, and if you put it into big chunks, it's not as nice. So you want to cut them into really fine little matchsticks. So just take 3 or 4 layers and then chop those that way. And if you could grate it, if you're not confident, grate it. But I quite like just to take my time and not cut myself. There we go. 2 more. We've not done that live yet, have we? I've not cut myself. We've done 55 episodes and I haven't cut myself live yet. So I'm quite pleased with that record so far. It's not bad. Right. There we go. So the carrots. Mix them all up. I've got this tiny little bit left. There we go. Right. In with the carrots. There we go.
Can you see one of these balls on the chopping board so we can see it overhead?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Is that all right? Yeah. Okay, so we've got our cooked chicken. Really doesn't need cooking again. I'm going to take the skin away because it's not for me and I don't think the residual heat really does it much good. But just tear it up into little pieces because you want the boiling stock just to warm it through rather than to cook it. Because once you get this to the table, you can give it a really good mix and then you're off. But basically, with this recipe, you use as much chicken as you've got, you know? So, or you could use some roast pork if you wanted to use up some leftover roast pork, beef, you know, whatever really. Whatever you've got left over from Sunday roast, it's the perfect, Monday night, it's the perfect time to do this. Okay, we're nearly there. Sesame seeds. Good scatter of sesame seeds. There we go. Lovely. And then fresh coriander at the end. Don't sprinkle it on yet. Not until you get to the very last minute and you're about to serve.
That smells beautiful.
And then let's have a little look at this. We're going to have a taste of it because now is the time where you can make an adjustment, okay? So we have a little taste of the stock. A little bit more soy, just to get that seasoning in there. So for me, it needs a little bit more salt, but rather than salt, we're going to add soy sauce today. Okay? Lovely. Now, what I would say is if you're going to make this, make more than you need, because once you've made this stock, it will freeze perfectly, and then you've got the bit that takes the time already done. Okay?
That just looks like you could just drink out of a mug.
You could, it could be on like the football terraces, like a mug of OXO. Bovril even, not OXO, Bovril, and about. Right, so, basically I've got my, can I just move those so we can see what's going on? I've got my mixing bowl and then my colander that fits straight in there. It's the easiest way to do this. Okay, so lift it off, carefully pour it through. That's it. Lovely. And then all we do is lift that off. I'm going to use my ladle because I do not want to lose any of this flavour. So you use your ladle, push the back of it, get every little bit of juice out there. That's what we want. Perfect. Right, there we go. Pop that away to one side. And now we have just our lovely broth. I mean, look at that. That is perfect. So, there is nothing more left to do than to serve this up. Now don't forget, if you want the recipe, scan the QR code along the bottom. If you've missed any bits, go back and have a look, or if you're not sure about anything, please message me. Post a message and I will reply, okay? And then all you do is just simply pour the stock over the top until you can just start to see it. I'm just going to do one so that I can show you, because Emily will want to photograph the other ones. But if you have a look at that, can you see that, Emily?
Yeah.
And then just finish it with coriander, and that is just a beautiful bowl of ramen. A perfect way to use up leftovers, super healthy, full of flavour and tastes amazing. Now if you want the recipe, go to masterclass.co, scan the QR code along the bottom. But thank you for watching.